Pattern scanning is an extremely useful and important technique used by us game hackers. It's one of those things you must understand to get anywhere. I'm sure you've heard of offsets. The reason we need offsets is because every time you run a program, it gets executed from a different address in your RAM. We can consistently get the base address of any program from the Windows API, but after that, we need to use offsets to access the data that we want. There's a big problem though. Offsets rely on the structure of the game being consistent, but games are constantly being refined and updated. More often than not, a game update will break your offsets, which is painful, but that's just how the world works. This is where pattern scanning comes in. You see, a game is a compiled program. Compiled programs are made up of binary code, and binary code can be represented as bytes. If you disassemble a video game and spend some time finding important information, you'll notice that all this data is made up of bytes. Pattern scanning, also known as signature scanning or array of bytes scanning, is a technique whereby we search the entire binary image for a certain pattern or signature of bytes. The bytes in question will point to a piece of data that we want to access in our cheat. This way, even if the game is updated and the offsets are changed, it's not the end of the world because you can scan through the entire program and find the exact piece of data you were looking for. Keep in mind that pattern scanning isn't perfect, like most things in this world. Patterns of bytes can still break, especially if the developers change something very close to the data you're scanning for. But for the most part, patterns should last you a couple of updates at the very least. Before we continue, this video is sponsored by Brilliance.org. Many people don't realize that becoming a game hacker involves maths, physics, and a bunch of computer science. And that's precisely why I partnered with Brilliant. Brilliant is an online learning platform with a unique twist. Their courses are designed to be bite-sized and to the point. They focus on hands-on interactive learning, whereby beautiful visualizations will help you engage with concepts, so you can actually understand them. Brilliant has thousands of lessons on topics ranging from programming in Python to literal quantum mechanics, with new lessons added monthly. Recently, I decided to take a dive through their introduction to neural networks, as I believe there are many interesting applications for AI in the cheating world, and I must say, it was excellent. The course follows a wonderful progression that kept me engaged throughout, and, of course, each and every concept is supported by brilliant visual examples. So whether you're a student looking to ace your exams or a professional looking to upskill, you can try everything Brilliant has to offer free for a full 30 days by visiting brilliant.org/cazz or by clicking the link in the description down below. The first 200 of you will get 20% of Brilliant's annual premium subscription. Thanks for listening, and let's get back to the video. When it comes to finding patterns, you need a disassembler. I'm going to be using IDA Pro in this video, which I highly recommend because there's an excellent plugin called SIGmaker, which makes generating patterns way easier than it should be. I'll leave a link down below to the SIGmaker plugin, which you can just drag into the plugins folder in your IDA Pro directory. Once you have a game open in IDA Pro, at the top go to Options, then General, and change the number of opcode bytes to a higher number like 15 or 16. After you do this, you'll notice that in the text view, next to each assembly instruction, you'll be able to see all the bytes that represent that instruction. These are the bytes we are going to be scanning for. But unfortunately, it's not that simple. You can't just scan for these exact bytes because g_p local player is a variable, and variables change while your program is running. If you had to scan for these exact bytes, it would fail, because when the program is running, functions and variables have different values and addresses. To combat this problem, our signatures include something called wildcards. In the place of functions and variables, you'll find question marks, because those bytes can be any value when the program is running. It doesn't matter. What does matter though are the bytes of the assembly instructions around those functions and variables. The mov, the call, the test, and so on. Those are the actual bytes we are looking for. You can see this in action by selecting a few bytes near the data you want to find, and then pressing Ctrl-Alt-S, which is the SIGmaker shortcut. Otherwise, you can go to Edit, Plugins, and then select SIGmaker to run it manually. Once SIGmaker is open, select Create IDA Pattern from Selection and look at the pattern that is generated. We find that all the bytes that correspond to the assembly instructions are there, but the places where variables and functions are present just consist of question marks. There are two primary types of byte patterns you'll come across. One is called a code pattern, while the other is called an IDA pattern. They're both the same thing, just represented in different ways. A code pattern consists of two strings, a byte string and a mask string. An IDA pattern, on the other hand, is just a single string that combines both the bytes and the mask together. It's for this reason that most of the signatures you'll come across will be in the IDA format because it's simpler, only consisting of one string. We're not going to code a pattern scanner in this video because there are a million different ways to program one, and it's not possible to show everyone a single scanner that will suit their needs. There are many different searching algorithms out there that are more or less efficient, and many factors that will affect your scanner, such as are you internal, external, are you in the kernel, and so on. I'll obviously leave a bunch of references down below for you to check out. The last thing I want to talk about is something that I couldn't wrap my head around for a long time. Sometimes when you come across signatures in the wild, they'll also come with an offset, and I'd like to explain why. When you scan for a pattern, the address that is returned is the address of the very first byte in the pattern. But sometimes that first byte is not the data you're looking for. For example, if I were to scan for this line, it would return the address of the mov assembly instruction. But what we want is the local player pointer. In order to get the actual pointer's address, we have to add 2 to the found address because the size of the mov instruction is 2 bytes and the pointer comes after the mov instruction. Obviously, every single situation is going to be slightly different, but I hope that example makes sense. You're usually just adding an offset to get to the important data because the signature you have doesn't directly point to the data that you want, rather it points to its vicinity. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the video and possibly learned something new. Be sure to check out my Discord server and my Twitter down below. As always, thank you to the following patrons for your continued support, and I hope to see you in the next one. Cheers and peace out.